All right, for problem 7.3, what we're asked to do is determine if some points are or are not on the parabola. Now, we can do this by guessing, right? If we plot the point and maybe kind of zoom in, and we can take a guess, is it on, is it not on? But what we really want to do is we want to prove it algebraically. So in this image, in this picture here, we have a parabola that has a focus at the point 6, 4. So we're going to put that focus in at the point 6, 4. And the directrix is the line y equals 0. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to determine, is the point 11, 5, here it is, over 11, up 5, is that point on my parabola? So it's hard to tell if we zoom real far in. I don't really know if it's on there or if it's not on there. It looks close. So what we have to do is we have to think about, how do I know that a point is on the parabola? Remember, the point will be on the parabola if the distance from the point to the directrix, this vertical distance, is the same as the distance from the focus to the point. If those two distances are the same, then I know my point is on the parabola. So the easiest distance to find is the distance from the point to the directrix, because this directrix is the line y equals 0, which is the x-axis. I can find that distance just by counting the blocks, right? I can either count the blocks, or I can recognize that it's 5 units above the x-axis, so this distance must be a 5. Okay, so from point to directrix is 5. Now what I need to do is I need to find the distance from the point to the focus. I got to see that distance, and I hope it needs to be 5. Well, in order to find that distance, I can do the Pythagorean theorem, right? If I create a right triangle here, okay, I have the legs are A and B, and then the hypotenuse is C. I need to find that distance C. So I can do Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared, that must equal c squared. My a value, well, I'm going from 6 to 11, right? So that is 11 minus 6 squared, plus my b value, I'm going from 4 to positive 5, 5 minus 4 squared, that must equal my c squared. 11 minus 6 is 5. 5 minus 4 is 1. 5 squared is 25. 1 squared is 1. 25 plus 1 is 26. That must equal c squared. Now I need to take the square root of both sides. That means my c value, square root of 26, is 5.1. Notice that distance is 5.1. Therefore, that point must not be on the parabola. The point is not on the parabola because the distances are not equal. Okay, now we can look at another one. We're going to look at the point 14, 10. 10. The point 1410. So I'm going to erase some of this stuff. We're going to now look at the point 1410. Come over 14, go up 10. There's my point. 1410. I can erase this Pythagorean theorem work we did. I want to determine, is this point on the parabola? Well, remember, the distance from the point to the directrix must be equal to the distance from the focus to the point in order for this point to be on the parabola. So we'll first find the distance from the point to the directrix, and I notice that I've gone up from x equals 0, or from y equals 0, from the x-axis, I've gone up 10, so this distance is 10. So point to directrix is 10 units. Now I need to find the distance from the focus to the point. Okay, I'm going to create my right triangle again. I have my A distance, my B distance, and my C distance. So this time I'm going to do it a little bit different. I'm going to use the distance formula, remembering that the distance formula, we'll call this distance D. The distance formula says the distance between 2 points is the difference between the x values squared plus the difference between the y values squared, and then I take the square root of that sum. Okay, so now I can just plug in my values. My first x value, well, the focus down here is the point 6, 4. So my first x value is 6 minus my second x value, which is 14. My first y value, which is 4, minus my second y value, which is 10. Okay, 6 minus 14 is negative 8. 4 minus 10 is negative 6. Negative 8 squared is negative 8 times negative 8. That's positive 64. Plus negative 6 squared is negative 6 times negative 6. That's positive 36. 64 plus 36 is 100. The square root of 100 is 10. Notice it's the same. So down here, the point to focus equals 10. So yes, the point 1410 is on the parabola because the distances are the same. Okay. Now, in general, how can you determine if a particular point xy is on the parabola? Well, that's pretty simple. X comma y will be on the parabola if, number one, well, not number one, if the distance from x comma y to focus is equal to the distance from x comma y to the directrix. that's how I can tell if a point x comma y is on my parabola.